Greetings and welcome to Live from Caid. Tonight's guests are their Excellencies of Altavia, Baron Niko, Phaistos, and Baroness Briana MacCabe, and featuring a live performance by Lord Charles Ivanson of Borreby and Lady Aurora of Finchingfeld. Me, once again, a year later, I'm your announcer, Master Bjorn of the Northern Sea. And here's your host, Master Laertes McBride.
Hello, everyone. Happy anniversary to us. This is our 1-year anniversary. Exactly a year ago this evening, we started this adventure together. And it's been quite an adventure. And I want to say that we have a few special guests that will be coming up to talk about that, a couple of which have never been on this show before. So it should be pretty exciting. Before we get into the festivities for this evening, two quick notes. You notice the guests that we have lined up this evening might sound familiar. Their Excellencies Altavia were our first guests for our very first show. And on that show, we really didn't have, and by really, I mean not at all, a bardic performer. So Lord Charles and Lady Aurora were on our second show as our very first bardic performers. So it's kind of a circle back from whence we came for tonight. And I'm looking forward to checking in with them, seeing how this past year went. Speaking of this past year, we've had the opportunity to have several virtual courts here in Caid. And our next one up, the first one for Their Majesties, Panza and Catherine, will be this Saturday at 1 p.m. Be sure to go to the Kingdom Facebook group page to find out all the information and to get the link. Alrighty, so with that out of the way, let's bring in my cohort over this past year. And that would be Bjorn. And Bjorn will be here right about now. Hello, Bjorn.
Hey there.
Oh my gosh, it's been a year.
And what a year it's been.
You know, when we first started that, we said, you know what, let's do this for 6 weeks till things are back to normal. And yeah, maybe we'll do it afterwards. So, I don't know. And here we are 52 weeks later, and we're still doing it. So.
Yes, indeed. Another year has come and gone. Speaking of which, while I have the pulpit, if you will, let us give a wonderful birthday greeting to Her Majesty Catherine, and I hope that she is having a pleasant time, laying in wait, preparing to unleash all the majesty that Caid has upon the populace. So I'm looking forward to that.
I will take that description and not make a comment because it's Her Majesty. So I want to do a quick little recap on some things as it has been a year. And then we have some greetings for some people I'd like to share that. By the way, as our audience sees it for the first time, and also be the first time that Bjorn sees these greetings. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So let's do a couple of things just about the show. So in the past year, Live from Caid was recognized by the board of directors for its contributions to the society as being the very first of these shows, these talk shows that have come out and interview type shows in the past year for people to share, and so you can meet people across the SCA. So we're very proud of that. We also had the opportunity to put together a greeting from the Caidan Roses for the kingdom when this first started, for them to show their support for everyone and give us words of encouragement. If you haven't seen that, please go out to our Facebook or YouTube channel and review that. It was very awesome that they got together to do that. We've also had the president of the SCA, John Bearkiller, on here, talk about from that perspective. Of course, the Crown has been here. Society Marshal, the DEI officers from corporate and our Kingdom DEI officer. All told, over this past year, we've had 57 interview guests. A couple of people doubled up. We had a triple, which was challenging. And about 45 performers we've had from across the known world. We've had the secretaries and liaisons for all the peerages, all 5 of them. Let's see, we've pretty much had everyone from every kingdom except one, whether an interview guest or a bardic performer. And that's because I don't think they actually have the internet in England. We've also, do you have anything to add so far, Bjorn?
I'm just saying that in all that time, we have had people as far away as Insula Draconis and Locock on the show. So folks from the UK and from Australia, um, and uh, and somehow by strange coincidence, we have managed to miss a next door neighbor. I'm sure it has been a gross oversight that will in some way be corrected in the future, Your Excellency.
Yeah, once they have electricity in that kingdom, we'll look it up. So to celebrate our 1 year anniversary, we've kind of put up a good resource for everyone. You want to talk about that, Bjorn?
I do. With no small amount of pride, I would like to talk about our Live from Caid Wiki page. So when you go to Caid Wiki, honestly, not all kingdoms have this. And we are really, really fortunate that we have such a really cool wiki page for Caid. This one was put together by the Honorable Lady Ivanson de Bayona, who took an enormous amount of time to link all of the episodes we have on Facebook or YouTube, and our guests, if their guests were part of our kingdom, to hyperlink their names to their own respective Caid wiki pages, plus any additional notes. And she just put a heck of a lot of work into this thing, and we are very honored and fortunate that it's there, and it will be continued to be updated. But we're just very thankful for the work that she put into it, because when Laertes started keeping notes on all this and getting out a spreadsheet, it was one of those things like, gosh, that's a awful lot of people on there. One of these days, we really ought to get around to codifying this somewhere. And then we got the message this last weekend that that's what Avisia had done. So unbelievably thankful for that. And it just shows just how much work you've done, Laertes, on getting this show going so many weeks in a row.
Yeah, but it's worth it. One, just to spend time with you, my friend, and I've really learned a lot from our guest. And man, those party performances, it brings me back. And the other thing that we've set up, and we've mentioned this a couple of times for crazy people, is we've set up a merchandise site. So if you want to go out and show that you're a big fan of Live from Caid, we have a wide variety of items that can be ordered. Bjorn, you want to show one?
I do. Let me just go ahead and grab it. I'm an old man, and it's hard for me to find stuff. So here is my current favorite thing to take out with me. It's my Live from Caid mask, which it's 2 layers of fabric, and it has little adjusters on the sides. And when you have a skull the size of a hollowed out VW Beetle, to be able to put something on my head that will actually cover this what looks like a carved ent, and actually have it covered up is just fantastic. And also the mugs that we drink from. There's all kinds of cool things on the site. As Laertes said, we even have a shower curtain. Any of you that get that, I want to see it. I want to know that it's out there. I want documentable evidence, because that I wouldn't know what you'd want it for, but we have.
I'm just curious what you would be thinking about if you were behind the shower curtain for Live from Caid. But yes, there's all kinds of merch out there. The link is in the chat. We just thought it was funny more than anything else.
It would be cool, and if for no other reason, to do one of your favorite phrases from Wizard of Oz: "Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain." It'd be great.
All right, so anything else I really want to? Oh, okay. So a couple other things, and then we're going to do our greetings, special greetings. Over the past 12 months, our show has been viewed over 12,000 times across our 2 platforms on Facebook and YouTube. We have over 600 followers. We could always use more. Be sure to share. That's how we get more. And people have watched over 55,000 minutes of this show, which tells me that everyone has a lot of free time. Our top 3 shows have been the one where we talked to the Society social media officer, Baroness Anne, followed by when we talked to the Prince of Insula Draconis, and then Sir Nicola when he gave us the tour of his forge, which was so cool. So if you haven't seen those shows, be sure to check them out. Other people seem to like them. All right, so let's get this party started. So Bjorn, I have a few messages I want to share with you and the viewers. Just talking about our 1-year anniversary. Now, we couldn't have got this show off the ground without, at their time, their majesties, Alexander and Tahira, whom are now their grace. So they just wanted to give us a very heartfelt message for the show, and I just want to share that with you right now. And we'll come back afterwards. One moment.
Hello, and we are so happy to be here today. When my friend Lurtz told me that he wanted me to come on and say something good about his wonderful show that he's had for an entire year now, what an incredible amount of work they put into it. We are so thrilled to be able to come here and to say thank you for all the hard work.
It's Laertes from Life from Caid.
Laertes? Laertes? Oh, jeez.
We just want to thank Master Bjorn and Master Laertes for their wonderful work on Live from Caid. We are so thankful to be part of it, and we are so happy to celebrate the anniversary, the 1-year anniversary of their show. We can't wait to see what happens in the future.
Thank you.
My heart is just filled with love for those two. So heartfelt. I think it's the appropriate word.
Right here. Fantastic.
Right. Okay, so that was from. Now, there's a couple of celebrities that seem to be huge fans of this show, and I just want to bring one of them in, and well, let's see what this gentleman has to say for our show.
Hi, Bjorn. It's me, Greg Proops. Congratulations on your Facebook Live Recreation Group, SCA.org. This was booked by Laertes. I guess the show's called Live from Caid. 1 year. That must be very exciting. There's nothing like medieval recreations, and particularly when celebrated on social media, because medieval social media was a man yelling in the town square. So I'd like to fist bump you virtually, kachumba, and congratulate you, my brother, and quote you that famous medieval poet who said, "Oh my God, I'm covered with mud and there's plague all around. As for Lee Jarrett, that's your hard cheese." We all know how that goes.
So yeah, Greg Proops, obviously, you could tell he's a huge fan, obviously.
Right up there. Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm surprised you reached out and just wanted to congratulate us. But again, the sincerity is off the charts. Okay, well, speaking of which, I have one more special celebrity, and really, this is for you. And I hope you enjoy it. And well, let's bring him in. I'm sure you know who he is just right off the bat. But let's play his greeting.
Hi there, this is David J. Fielding, Zordon from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and this is a very special message for Bjorn. Hey Bjorn, just wanted to take a few moments out to wish you a happy anniversary for the live show, Live from Caid, or Caid. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, please forgive me. But this message was booked for you by your friend Laertes, and he just wanted to make this anniversary something special because he knows that you're a big, huge Power Rangers fan, and that is awesome. So thank you for that. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for keeping up with us over all the years and enjoying all of our crazy shenanigans. I mean, what's not to like about Power Rangers, right? I mean, it's kids in spandex, big giant robots, big rubber monsters. It's awesome. But anyway, I just wanted to say congratulations on the 1-year anniversary. I know all about the SEA. I think that's very awesome. You guys are doing all that medieval stuff, and that is so very cool. I've attended like a number of Ren fairs and I've talked to a lot of people about it, so I'm very familiar with it. But congratulations on 1-year anniversary of the show. I hope you guys have a lot more success in the future. And as Zordon would tell you, may the power protect you. All right, Bjorn, have a great one.
I know a lot of younger people always wanted to be a Power Ranger. I just felt I had a calling to be one of the giant rubber monsters, and that was awesome.
So I'm sure the audience didn't know you were a huge Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan.
That is quite the news, really.
Anyway, just so everyone knows, they're huge fans. Anyway, and serious part of this now. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everyone that was viewers that are watching us, that reach out with the comments, that comment during the show, and that really keep the support for the show going on. So even though we have huge celebrities like Zordon watching the show, we really wouldn't be here without each and every one of you. So I know I want to say that thank you very much for watching us over this past year. Even when things open back up, I'm willing to keep this going as long as people want to watch. And we have plenty to learn about in the SC, a lot of bardic performers to highlight and introduce everyone to. So I know I'm good and willing to keep it going. And I want to say thank you to everyone that's been with us so far on this journey. And if you do like it, share it. YouTube, Facebook, whatever. And Bjorn?
I just want to remind folks that we would love, we have a lot of followers on Facebook, but we'd also love people to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, primarily because we get above a certain point and then it is youtube.com/live from Caid rather than youtube.com/a series of numbers. So it would be great if we had those folks to if they haven't already done so, to join the YouTube channel, to subscribe, because it would be just something that was assist. And I think, as the young people say, it helps the algorithm. So that would be fantastic.
Yeah. And the power of Zordon's behind us now. So
I'm still a quiver. What can I say?
Speaking of a quiver, well, what do you have for our arts and sciences this week?
Well, the first arrow that I'm going to loose from this quiver, he started the puns. We have a wonderful opportunity here, that so many things have happened in our real lives, in the mundane space, the pandemic, and all of the things that have associated with the sheltering in place for this last year. And one of the wonderful things that I've been fortunate in with this is being able to get all the information out there to you folks to check some stuff out, whether it was virtual tours of the Getty or a virtual tour of Pompeii, or if it was a chance to watch a piece of Shakespeare done in original pronunciation, or any one of the bits of information that we've had over the last year about people in the Middle Ages that maybe we didn't know were participatory in the Middle Ages. This has just been one of the best parts of this show for me, and all the people sending me Facebook messages going, hey, would you talk about X, or would you talk about Y, or I have this this thing on Facebook Live that I'd like you to take a look at. And it's just been fantastic. And to that end, we have sort of modified the SCA space to include the Zoom calls, to include our virtual courts. And so we have two that we're going to talk about today that sort of are just extrapolating on the things we've already done this past year. The first one I wanted to talk about is happening from the 2nd through the 4th of April. So it's coming up pretty soon. And it is the virtual West Coast Culinary Symposium for 2021. Now, a lot of us that enjoy the West Coast Culinary Symposium, and Caid was scheduled to have it before the lockdown. This is just another one of those opportunities for people to get on and see what folks of Caid, the West, and Ontario have gotten ready for us. The class schedules are already up. We're very excited. It's looking like a lot of fun, and it's just how fantastic, a multi-kingdom 3-day event talking about food for not just the Middle Ages and the Renaissance and earlier, but also how we would prep things in an SCA situation at a war, as opposed to having a fancy kitchen for those of us that have been fortunate to cook feasts at events. And it is a completely free event, but of course you need to register. And so the information is up on their Facebook page. I think it's fantastic. I'm very excited to go and attend the classes, and I heartily recommend that. The second thing I wanted to talk about is almost a direct result of the pandemic and what we have had to do during the pandemic. And that is on the 1st of May Day, 2021, we will be having the Technical Symposium for the Digital SCA. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is talking about how the digital space and the SCA had to mesh during this last year and the benefits that we've gained through that. How to start web page maintenance and upkeep, social media protocols, how to upkeep not just the wiki pages for those kingdoms that have them, but perhaps the creation of wiki pages for other kingdoms so that they can maintain their own populist lists, award lists, and those kinds of things. It's going to talk about video editing, PowerPoint presentations, making PDF files, and all sorts of other digital things that would assist people in the SCA space, or really in any reenactor space. They are looking for teachers. So when you go on to their Facebook page, there is a teacher sign up. So if you would like to talk about any of that information, if you've done these sorts of things in your mundane space, or if you've done this in the SCA and would like to lend your expertise, please go to the teacher sign up for the Technical Symposium, lend a hand, let them know how best we can continue this process, because many things about what has happened in this last year has caused the SCA, if you will, to not necessarily atrophy, but we have gone a little gaunt. Some of the things that we normally want to do, we have been unable to do, just for safety and security. And this is something that when we are once again able to be amongst our friends and go to events and participate in combat activities and all the other things that we do in the SCA, some of these greater nuggets of wisdom and affect for our lives that we have had in this digital space, we want to keep. We want to nurture those things, and we want to teach other people how to do it as well. And that way we can lessen the burden as we spread the wealth of all the digital information and all of the trial by error we've done this last year. So if you have that information you'd like to assist, please do so. But those are the two websites that we're talking about this week. And I know it's not really, the Culinary Symposium will be fantastic. I understand that it's not as medievally inspired, but because it does the society's business, it assists us to continue to interact with folks that are perhaps kingdoms and kingdoms away, just by looking into a Zoom camera. I think it's a wonderful thing. So if you can assist, please do.
Exactly. Because be sure to check out what's cooking at the West Coast Culinary Symposium. That's my takeaway.
I think it's really great. I'm going to go to classes, so I recommend it.
Yeah. I'm going to be sure to feast my eyes on every class. I can keep going if you know. Anyway,
you're good.
Yeah, and we're pondering, and we will probably be teaching or holding some kind of session at the Technical Symposium also. So if you can't get enough, if once a week isn't enough, You can come out May 1st, check out another day. Anyway, so on our celebration of our 1 year anniversary, who do we have as our guests?
Well, in as you've said earlier, in celebration of our 1 year anniversary, we are having we're visiting with our very first guests that were ever on the show, and they're of course their excellencies of Altavia. So that would be Baron Niko and Baroness Briana, and so we're just really happy to have them with us tonight.
All right, so let's bring them into the show right quick, and they'll be here in just one moment. Oh, this is the CNN look I don't like. Hold on. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Your Excellency.
Hello, Caid.
Oh my gosh, so good to see you. It's hard to believe it's been a year, yet it's easy to believe it too. So
Time has no more meaning.
No, it does not. It keeps on going.
I know, and it looked like His Excellency's in some nebulous void. So
Hey, a year ago, I was in my garage. This is 100 times better.
So, well, thank you for coming back. I know it's been an interesting year. Again, I want to thank y'all for being our first guest and subjecting yourself to what we were trying to put together and what this show has become. And we had a good opportunity to kind of help educate people what a Baron and Baroness does from your perspective early on. And then we kind of took that torch and carried it forward with a whole bunch of other positions and responsibilities across the SCA, not just here in Caid. So that's been awesome, and thank y'all for helping us find our footing when it comes to that. Now, I know in this past year, and how long have y'all been in the baronial seats, as one would say?
3 years? 2018 is when we stepped up. So yeah, it'll be 3 years this May.
Okay, so you had a couple of years under your belt before things went sideways. So I think the first question would be, because it is going to be the first question, what's the difference, other than not seeing people, what would you say what the biggest challenge is when we switched from in-person over the first 2 years to this virtual environment that we've been in, both from, I would say personally, but also from being a landed baron, because you have to administratively handle things and work with your populace. So being that baronage, what are your biggest challenges you've had to overcome this past year?
Well, I think for me, it's just trying to make sure that everybody in the barony is able to be involved still in the way that we'd like, because not everybody does Facebook. So trying to reach out to those that might not be online. Also, just not having the events, even when we do have virtual events, you can't interact with everybody in the same way. So trying to take the time for those that are on Facebook to reach out to them to see how they're doing, like you would at an event, at a fighter practice. One thing that we did start doing very early on, kind of inspired by Live from Caid, is having a kind of a Zoom hangout afterwards, because Monday nights would have been our normal fighter practice nights. And except for one day back in August, I believe, we've had a meeting every Monday night, and it's been great to get to see people coming in. Some people that we actually had never met that were former Altavians that now come hang out from Colorado. Some people from around other parts of the kingdom. And that's been actually a silver lining, is to get to meet those people.
All right. And Niko?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing for me that I am not having is that physical contact. I'm a hugger. I love to hug everybody, and not having that, just it's a challenge that's still going on right now. But I think for the baronial perspective, one of the biggest challenges is getting fighters to stay involved. To have events when that basically that's what we do. We go to watch the fighters, or be with the fighters, or be a fighter as well, and we just don't have that. It's difficult to pull them back in to do the communication part. We play games and things like that during anniversaries for people to get involved, and that helps. That helps. But yeah, the number of fighters I haven't seen in a while has definitely increased, and we need to still figure out how to keep them involved. But like the Baroness was saying, communication is key. Keeping people involved virtually is difficult, but we try different things like the Monday night thing. We started a Discord channel. We have this. We're doing what we can, and any ideas that people have in the barony, in the kingdom, we use. One of the things that I love is that all the Baron and Baronesses have pretty much come together, and we've helped each other with ideas for events and for things at events to get people involved, and we're helping each other, giving and taking, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have that type of backup and that type of support, and hopefully our barony will get to see each other soon.
Yeah, I mean, being able to lean on your baronial cousins who are going through the same challenges, I'm sure, is an awesome thing, and very much a bonding opportunity across the kingdom. So that's great to hear. Now, when things went sideways this time last year, I believe y'all were still in the midst of finalizing plans for Altavia anniversary, which would have been the second weekend in May. So could you kind of do a quick walkthrough on what y'all had to do to quickly pivot and put something together that's such early in these challenges that we've had?
I can't remember exactly the timeline, but there was a period where we weren't sure like what was going to be allowed for virtual events, and I think Dunor actually was the first barony to do a virtual event, and they did more of a Facebook throughout the week and not really a Zoom virtual event like we're used to now. So because we had some Zoom professional accounts, we decided to go ahead and try a Zoom virtual anniversary. When we got together, all the people that were helping us plan for the in-person anniversary and came up with some ideas. Our marshals jumped on figuring out how do you do fighting on Zoom? And I think for Armored, Griffith came up with a card game. I believe Master Colwyn also had a version of a card game. I believe Mistress Cecilia had a dice version for Unarmored. And then we had an excellent bardic circle with bards from all over the known world. It was really cool getting to know some of them. We had an arts and sciences competition that allowed the artist to present their item to the full Zoom room. And I got to hear a lot more detailed information about the projects than I would at a physical event, because I don't necessarily get to meet up with the artisan at the arts and sciences tent while I'm looking at the objects. And I think the only takeaway that we had that we're hopefully going to do different in our second version is to make it a little bit shorter, because at that time we didn't realize that 5 hours on Zoom is a little bit too long for people. Hey, Niko found the cards! Yay!
This is actually an invention of Griffith and Amabel, I believe, and it worked for fighting, and it was a great idea. Like the Baroness said, we also had some new things like excuse me, Countess Batista had a scavenger hunt, and that was new. Instead of site tokens, we had Facebook frames, and I think we got that from Dunor. We actually had the seneschal from Dunor, Philippe, I believe he's a seneschal still. He came in and helped us out by told us what they did in their planning, and so we got together with him and all the Altavians, like the Baroness said, and did what we could, and it turned out to be, in my opinion, very impressive for what we had to work with.
All right, so hey, look, we switched places. This is weird. I know.
Baroness.
It's been a year and I still can't operate the system. So my question is, though, now that obviously we're going to have to do this year as a virtual one, and as you talked about applying the lessons that you've learned, not only from the one that y'all ran last year, but watching the other baronies doing it. Are there something you can give us a preview for this coming year that'll be different?
Yes, one thing that we're hoping to try is to do some lead-up events on our Discord channel, possibly a group movie watching. So our theme is Commedia dell'Altavia, so it's an Italian Renaissance with a little bit of an emphasis on theater, not drama, as is our motto. And so the movie watching would probably be Italian Renaissance inspired movies. And there might be an art project of creating Italian Renaissance sock puppets. So we're still coming up with some additional ideas on that. We are going to have, I believe the event itself is 3.5 hours long. Don't quote me on that, but it's definitely shorter than it was last year. But we're still going to have fighting. We're still going to have Bardic. We are going to have a dad joke competition in honor of His Excellency. And lots of fun. Also another scavenger hunt because people really like those and Batista does such a great job with them.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing right now. She got it.
All right. So again, this is weird for me being on the end. But anyway, so one thing before I bring Bjorn in, I want to show you something we did talking about the first show and things we learned. I'm going to show you the post I did for the first show. And I need y'all to tell me what might be wrong with it. I was looking at it just yesterday. I was like, oh, okay. So here, I'll put it full screen. And what might be wrong with what I had posted for it?
Oh, you got both of our names wrong.
Yeah, both our names wrong. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
No, that's quite an accomplishment, I think. Is not only one, I managed to mess up all three.
I think it took to like the fourth promissory scroll that I had till somebody actually got both of my names correct.
That's fantastic. Hey, I'm consistent. I'm going to do something right quick. Hold on. I'm just gonna do something right quick because it's driving me crazy. Alrighty, so there we go. That's what I wanted. So this is the point of the show. I just want to do one last thing before I bring in Bjorn. Is I'm sure y'all have started the conversations because we've been hearing information coming from the kingdom level about rolling forward for when we're able to open up and how the process is going to be. Have you all started conversations internally? I mean, not looking for details or anything, of course. Just so that we have a path ready to go once we're able to get together, albeit even in smaller numbers than normal.
I don't think we've had any official conversations. I mean, I know that we both want to get fighter practices up and running as soon as possible. We don't know if there's going to be numbers limitation and other, issues around that. But as soon as we get the green signal from Kingdom, we're going to look into getting fighter practice up and running.
Yeah, we got insurance for the park, so we're getting revved up for that. We've heard only rumors. We haven't heard anything substantial about if we're going to have having to have practice in masks, as the Baroness said, smaller numbers. We haven't heard any of that. We're assuming that as a fighter, I'm assuming that for fighting, we are going to have to fight with masks and then our helmets as well for an extra precaution. But there has been nothing but planning up from the Caid and society level so far. So they've had committees and they're discussing their committees, but they have not brought down any information. And the Baroness and I are very keen on communication. So, and also our Seneschal Melior as well. So once we hear anything, you will hear about it.
Great. Well, I'm going to step out and bring Bjorn in for a couple of questions and keep going. Oh yeah, you're welcome, Your Excellency. Remember, I can accidentally make you go away. So here we go.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be asking any better questions, but there's a couple things I did want to talk to you both about. Namely, what things have you been able to do within the Barony of Altavia beyond the fantastic meetings over Zoom to continue to foster sort of the welfare and camaraderie of our SCA times?
I think one of my favorite things was Altavia did its own version of the Pass the Cup challenge. Remember when all those viral videos were really popular back at the beginning? We had some people that didn't get a chance to participate in the Kingdom one, so we said, we'll do our own. And it was voted on by committee. We did Footloose, and we had some wonderful, wonderful entries. And it was really great to see everybody's talents. Or not talent, because I don't
That was a good one. Also, I with the help of some of my protege brothers and sisters and the Baron of Calafia making Pels, I was able to get in touch with him and get Pels that he had made transported to Altavia and sent them out to fighters who were interested in practicing without actually having a Pel or knowing how to build one. So that was one of the pushing off things. We've made some instructional videos about things. I think I've made one for arrow making, putting arrows together, as well as I just finished one on basics of fundamentals in rapier. I'm also thinking about doing a thrown weapons one as well, trying to get people aware of it. And Lady Sibylla and Dame Lynette helped us set up the Discord channel as well. So that's an added thing to try to help people get in. We've actually had some newcomers join us in some of the meetings and some of the Zooms, as well as the Discord and stuff like that. And so that's been nice, but getting to see people again is going to be the biggest thing.
Most recently in the Kingdom of Glenavon, this would normally be the time that folks would go to Gulf Wars. And so in lieu of that, folks that had been vaccinated or folks that were gloved and masked actually went down to the site in Lumberton, Mississippi, and spent a great deal of time working on repainting and putting on new shingles on some of the structures and things like that. And they are planning on making sure that, for example, the Period Corner and a bunch of other places, the Green Dragon Inn and whatnot, are going to be as up to shipshape as they can be prior to having thousands of folks, or however many they'll be allowed to have in attendance. Have there been any personal things for maintenance and upkeep that you have done for armor or weapons during the pandemic?
Well, I guess personal as in actually my physical person, I've started hitting a Pel. I'm practicing with both a rattan stick just for the exercise, and then I just recently picked up one of Altavia's loner rapiers, and I'm with the help of the Baron's excellent videos, learning some footwork and some drills, so that when we open back up, I might look into actually trying to fight rapier.
Yeah, I have tortured my Pel to extreme. I've set up a workout regimen. At first tried to follow the Tournament of Virtues. Sir Artos's set up for was like 100 days, like the Baroness is doing right now, and that one I think after the 15th or 16th day, I couldn't handle it anymore. So I went down to doing 3 to 4 times a week, and I've been doing 3 to 4 times a week ever since. So I've been beating up that Pel as much as I could with my little pokies, and playing with the dog outside, of course.
Now, last question I wanted to ask was, so obviously we've had a great deal of stress during the pandemic. Our SCA lives have been, if not completely put on hold, then extremely truncated, which is one of the things. I honestly think I've worn more garb in the last year doing this show than I did in the previous 2 years going to events. So there is that for me. But what things, and of course, you are more than welcome to not answer if you so choose, but what things have affected you personally during this last pandemic that that have just impacted how you see the world, or how you view things, or how you interact with your neighbors and loved ones?
It's a hard one. I experienced how difficult it is to have a family member very far away that gets ill, and how you can support them as best you can from 2,000 miles away. Luckily, the family member's fine. It was a stressful period, but I did learn a lot about how to order things to someone who can't go outside of their house for a bit. And learned a lot of valuable lessons about work-life balance. It wasn't existing in the early part of the pandemic, but it does exist now.
I've actually got to know some of my neighbors better. I walk the dogs and now the dog, which is also something that happened during this pandemic, as I lost one of my dear pets, and that was very hard, very difficult. But on the brighter side, walking the dogs twice a day, morning and afternoon, for exercise, as well as just getting out and seeing my neighbors doing the same thing. It's wonderful seeing kids outside on bicycles and scooters and skateboards, playing with their parents, and watching couples and singles and friends walk social distancingly with masks, and have discussions with neighbors that you really don't usually see, but you see more of now, because people need to be outside sometime during the day, and that is definitely something that has affected me. And I've tried on Facebook to, not to squash the negativity, but to balance the negativity with more positivity. I've set out lots of dad jokes. In fact, I joined a dad joke Facebook group, which is, I don't think it was a good idea for me, because it's just too much. And also, I try to put some positive memes out as much as I can. Try to keep the positivity going, because that's one of the things that I've noticed went down quickly and harshly during the pandemic, that really needs help bringing back up. So remember, guys, be positive. Get some constructive comments on Facebook.
I love those posts and all the dad jokes. Anybody who thinks that I don't like the dad jokes, you're wrong.
Well, I too have enjoyed getting a chance to read those and seeing those, and there's a lot of times when it's that first thing you do if you get up and you're making coffee, or you're getting ready to walk to the dog or whatever, and you check your phone, or you look at the laptop and you see something that makes you smile. And I think it does really affect how you interact with the rest of that day, whether you're on a Zoom call with a client, or you are getting kids ready for school, and it just kind of it lightens your mood, and in turn it allows you to pay it forward and try and help everyone else feel a little bit better, especially during these times. So I've enjoyed them, but then again, I've known Laertes for decades, so puns and that kind of a thing, at this point, you just expect it. You know it's going to be there. But
I can hear you.
Yeah, I know. But once again, I just wanted to thank Your Excellency so very much. 1 year in, and the last thing I wanted to put in front of you, and this is one of those that, again, think about, don't have to answer. For all of your cousins that sit on a territorial throne, in vassal to a crown, so all the barons and baronesses that we have, not just in Caid, but all across the known world, how do you think this affects your continuing to stay on the throne versus how soon before you seek heirs to your own respective territorial seats?
Well, Niko, do you want to take that one, or since it was your decision?
Well, in fact, we've done the opposite of what most people, most baron and baronesses may think. We took this as more of a challenge for us, saying this happened, and it basically subtracted a year from us seeing our populace continuously, and a whole year was gone. So we actually added a year on to our service. So we're going to go the full 5 years, as opposed to what we planned on doing is the 4. So, I believe that it made us stronger, more loyal, more showing more support for the barony, and knowing that just to see the end and then get out is not our style. We want to leave it as all of the SCA. We want to leave it better than when we started.
Another thing that went into that decision is we also want to make sure anybody who's considering taking on this role after us has the opportunity to look at it during a more normal time, so they can, get the full sense of what the job entails.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate that, and I wanted to kind of sort of let that go out into the ether, so folks would know that we've got you for another year. Because Altavia is one of my favorite places to go to, and we're very excited about that. But once again, thank you both so very much for helping us during this last year. Your Excellency, Briana, with coming on as a Bardic guest, and of course, Niko, all of the things that you've done for both serious and also gag things to do for the show. We're so very thankful to the both of you and all the support that you've shown live from Caid this last year. And we're just really looking forward to having your love and friendship as we love you, and just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to you and to Master Laertes for this wonderful show, for giving Caid some place to come every Monday night to be together for a little while.
Yes, thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. Every week has been wonderful. I mean, well, Bjorn, you're really wonderful.
I heard compliments, so I thought I'd step in so I could at least get some, recognition. But no, it's all about Bjorn. I get it. So now we come to the favorite part of the show, at least for me. So Bjorn, oh, look at that, live from Caid. Very nice.
Mine didn't come yet. Mine's not coming until next week. It just shifted today.
So Bjorn, what is the name of the trivia game we're playing with Their Excellencies this evening?
Their Excellency's trivia game is going to be Last Year Tonight.
That's right. So I'm going to read off of some news stories that may or may not happen over this past year, not related to COVID. And so you're just going to tell me, sometimes true or false, sometimes fill in the blank, if this actually happened in the past year. So are you all clear and ready to go, Your Excellencies?
I need a buzzer. I need a...
No, Your Excellency, just slap yourself on the cheek when you're ready. There you go.
Well, I'll try not to upset you like you did to Pat Sajak.
Oh,
yeah. You had to bring that up. Anyway, so here we go. So true or false? In the year 2020, more people than ever had access to the internet.
true.
True.
Not false. Actually, more people than ever had access to electricity worldwide. More people. There were much less people that did not have access to electricity than ever before in history. So that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. True or false? UK teetotalers reduced more than ever in the past decade.
False.
He said it first.
Okay, that's correct. Actually, UK smokers quit the most ever in a decade. So you would think they would be sitting home just slamming down a pack all the time, but no, they actually took this year to reduce their smoking.
And
Well, if you
increase the drinking.
inside all the secondhand smoke, it's probably a thing.
True. True or false, humpback whales returned to New York City and the Hudson Bay.
I think that one was true. I think I remember reading something.
I think that is true.
It is true. The Hudson Bay is cleaner than it's been in decades, so natural wildlife have returned to it.
Nice.
I guess that means there's actually less mafia bodies in the Hudson Bay too.
Less food for the fishes.
Yes. Okay, here's another one. A 20-year-old math genius set the Guinness World Record for answering 196 multiplication and division facts in 60 seconds.
I don't even know how you would talk that fast. I'm gonna say false.
False.
It is false because he was actually 10 years old, not 20 years old.
10. Wow.
Wow. Like
Yeah,
190
That's wonderful.
1
That's
minute.
wonderful.
Isn't that incredible?
Writing down.
Yeah.
How did he point at his finger so fast?
Well, he had his shoes off. Okay, a businessman needing a warehouse stumbled across the world's largest pot farm and simply refuses to tear it down. True or false?
Where is this supposedly to happen?
This is in New Jersey.
Anything happens in New Jersey.
I'm gonna say anything's legal in Jersey. So yeah.
No, it was false. Actually, he stumbled upon the world's largest train set, and rather than tear it down, he's paying $250,000 to renovate it and opening it up to the public.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's interesting.
Okay, another true or false. Well, I'm going to stand, but I think we're all learning something.
Something.
A Japanese aquarium set up video chats for their eels in an aquarium. I said aquarium twice, but yes. True or false?
It sounds just crazy enough to be true.
Sounds true to me.
It's true. The caretakers had noticed, since there were no visitors, that the eels were becoming reclusive and only peeking out from the sand. So they set up FaceTime iPads around the different tanks that people could call in and chat with the eels so they could be used to having faces around.
They can talk to the fishies.
Yeah, earlier when we had sleeping with the fishes, now we have speaking with the fishes.
So, okay, now these you're gonna have to figure out. I'm not true or false. So, what is unusual about the mayor of Idlewild? He was just recently elected in 2020. I can give you a clue, but you won't get full credit.
He wasn't dead, was he?
That wouldn't be unusual. All politicians are that inside. So.
All right, thank you.
He was also recently in a Mint Mobile.
Oh, that's right.
So
He's famous?
Well, he can be famous.
I don't have
I
a
mean,
clue.
it was a rough election.
False.
He's a dog?
He is a dog. So Idlewild is unincorporated.
Wow.
They decided to have an election for a dog to be their mayor. He's actually the second dog that's been their mayor.
I did not hear that. That's
and so that's Caid, by the way. And last.
Doesn't Mistress Caitlin live up there?
Yeah.
No, she's Brightwood.
so.
no, that would be Duke Edward and Duchess Mora.
That's also he, right?
Yeah.
I wonder who they voted for. And then finally, okay, so Barcelona's Grand Theatre of Liceu Opera House reopened and performed its first concert back in June to a live audience. What was unusual about the audience? There's 2,292 seats that were all filled.
It wasn't actually people.
No, it wasn't people. What was unusual about the audience?
What was the name of the play?
It wasn't a play. It was a first concert. The first.
Oh, concert.
Yeah.
They were all cats.
That would have been awesome, but no. You want me to tell you? Yeah.
Sure.
Don't have a clue. Okay. So
No.
it was actually they played to a room full of plants. They went out to all the local nurseries, bought plants, and then they
That makes
donated
sense.
them to
That
the
makes
local retirement home, so everyone could have a plant.
That makes sense.
Y'all did pretty good on the true or false, but yeah, when you had to actually have knowledge. I mean,
Hey, 50-50,
on the
man.
tougher one,
50-50.
you tried. So, anyway, Your Excellencies, thank you so much for joining us. Again, it's an honor to have you all here. I know it cannot have been an easy year. I just, as a member of your populace, thank you for the guidance that you've given us. Thank you for knuckling down, getting it done, keeping us involved, and just keeping going, because I know it can't be easy. I know under regular circumstances, it's a challenging position to have. So I cannot imagine what it's been like under these unusual world events that we've had. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming back. I mean, obviously you didn't learn the first time, but it's been great. Thank you for sharing everything, and it's good to see you all. If not in person, at least to have this conversation we had tonight.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
Of course. So, well, thank you very much, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So let's get Bjorn back here. That was great. It's good to see them. They're so much fun.
And it's like, I don't mean to cast aspersions, but if I may say, Her Excellency looks lovely just as much as she did first time I met her, when I think she was in middle school. I'm not sure. However, much like my beard, Niko has grayed a bit, and I can only assume it's just the wear and tear of being your protege. I can't think of anything else.
Oh no, he's my provost, or as I like to refer to him, my buckaroo.
Your buckaroo.
My buckaroo.
That's the official title. I've always been curious about that.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you to everyone. That's what a Master Defense student is called, a buckaroo.
Buckaroo.
We almost had a crown convinced that's what they were called right after we started up, which was fantastic for me. Anyway, who do we have coming up as our performers for this evening?
Well, these gentles have probably been heard more than anyone else because they wrote the themes for the show. And Lord Charles and Lady Aurora, and they're going to be coming on for us tonight.
All right, let's bring them in. They've been very patient. Oh my gosh, look how late we are. Oh my gosh, we've been talking tonight. All right. And they'll be here, right? Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. Hopefully you took a nap or something. We got a little chat.
We went out for dinner and came back. So
as you do in these times. So as Bjorn mentioned, we reached out to y'all when we got this thing started, and you composed and conduct and played and provided the theme music that we hear every week. And along with you composed and played the music that we used for the Yule special. And let's see, for the match game that we replayed, y'all performed a pure version of the 70s theme. So you have been instrumental in our success.
Thank you.
See what Bjorn has to put up with every week? You're recorded, so you don't have to hear it. Again, I know it's been a weird year. For those that aren't familiar, you two are professional musicians. So I'm sure it's been super challenging to do what you do remotely. I know you've done a few pieces you've put up on Facebook. On YouTube, right? On YouTube, you put up some stuff in your toes. Have y'all been, has it been a challenge? Really?
I think the biggest challenge is not having anybody to play for.
Yeah, to get that audience reaction.
You really do want an audience
Yeah.
feedback. So that's sort of been the thing that's been the hardest, is to actually miss the people and playing live. And we were like the first to shut down, and we still don't know when we can play 4 people yet. So
Yeah, we're in some groups, symphony orchestras that has started up again, but it's all virtual stuff. So no bodies in the audience.
right, streaming for YouTube concerts. So
It's been a year since someone has thrown a rotten tomato at me, so I miss the live action.
right, live action. Yeah.
Well, it's good to know what's important. So, what are the instruments that y'all have with you this evening?
Well,
Aurora.
This is a VL, which is, let's see if I get a good picture here. I've played this before. It's like the grandfather of the violin. There are viols, which are very Renaissance instruments, and this is before that. There are actually no real VLs in existence. They've just create these off of the paintings that they see.
A replica.
Yep.
So, what's the difference between it and a viola?
A viola, well, good question. Actually, this actually has a viola strings on it. It's a lower register. It's about the same size. Viola has 4 strings, actually tuned to designated pitches, and it's tuned in fifths. The VL is just tuned however you want it to be tuned, and I have 5 strings.
But a viola is a modern instrument.
Right.
It's like the violin's bigger version.
Right. That would be like the grandson of this.
And I'm playing something that's not medieval, technically. This is an Appalachian dulcimer. You hear that in Appalachian music. It's a wonderful instrument, which I dabble in. But there are so many medieval instruments that had the same sound. It's a drone kind of string. So I took it off the wall and thought I'd play along instead of the usual recorder. I'd do something different tonight. Yeah.
So, it's an Appalachian what?
Appalachian dulcimer, a lap dulcimer, they call it. Yeah.
Does it come with its own moonshine, or do you get a discount at least?
Yeah, it's over there. So let's
get out.
It is expected.
Nice. So, what are you going to play for us this evening?
We have 2 pieces from the Carmina Burana, which was a collection of songs, and we just have 2 of them. One is the words would be about just reflecting about if you're giving, to make sure your heart is in the right place when you're giving. And then the second tune is actually a tune about what happens in a tavern when people are drinking. And it actually was used in the Karl Orff's Carmina Burana. So anyway, we're just combining these 2 tunes.
Yeah, a lot of music for the Middle Ages that survived was obviously, it was church music because they had a method for writing it down, but not a lot of secular music, as it's called. The Carmina Burana was an exception. It's a huge collection of bawdy songs from 12 and 1300. So we're not going to sing them. We're going to play them.
Well, I'm sure if they're body songs, Bjorn knows all the lyrics.
I'm sure he does.
I will ask him to refrain from singing along.
Thank you.
Anyway, and the floor is yours.
All right.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, there's a drink. I almost made it through. There's a drink for everyone. Man, so festive, so nice. I am blown away every time I hear you guys perform.
Thank you. And
I've had
I would hope that everybody who hears it, don't just think about a performance. Imagine yourself in a tent at night with candlelight during war, and all your friends are there. That's the mood we want to create, and we want to be back there.
I've had the opportunity to hear y'all play at events. I've gone to one of your professional gigs and had the opportunity to watch y'all perform along with a larger orchestra. And it's one of those things I look forward to once we're able to get back together. So thank y'all again for everything you've done to support this show through the year and continue to be. And thank you for being my friends too.
All right.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
It was mutual.
Yeah, let's bring Bjorn in because that's what evidently everyone wants to see. Hey, Bjorn.
Hey there. I always like it when people bring in dulcimers. They're lovely instruments, and yeah, Appalachian dulcimers, they're not period, but they're based on a body and a concept that goes to the kithara, that goes to the cuisine in China. So the history goes back 1600 BCE. So, it'll be fine. And you played it wonderfully. And the VL is always a beautiful and warm instrument to listen to. And you both played beautifully. So thank you again for sharing your music with us tonight.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Well, thank you again. Maybe we'll see you again sometime soon, and hopefully in person when we're able to get together. My friends, thank you again. Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see each other soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
That was great. They're so good. Oh my gosh. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I was single for a long time, so I got good at it. But I played the viola when I was growing up, so I always have an affinity for stringed instruments. So.
I played upright bass. They measured our hands in middle school, and apparently I had a giant paw, so they were like, I wanted to play the cello, and they said, no, you will play the upright bass, and so now bass was my instrument.
It's all about the bass. Anyway, we made it a year. So, my friend, thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. The show would not be anything what it is without you being here as my partner. So thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
I just want to thank all the Power Rangers who gave me the strength in all their myriad of colors, the chromatic warriors that they are. And thank you so much for letting me finally voice that the love that shall not be named, the Zerg.
Sword on.
No, I'm talking about just going straight ahead and running right into the giant rubber monsters, getting your butt kicked, and then having to think for a minute.
Right.
Oh, we need tactics, because virtually every fight's like that.
Right.
I mean, just if you don't believe me, watch.
Well, I know we had some fun with it, but I'd like to thank both gentlemen that play Zordon and Greg Proops, and of course their graces for coming in and taking a little time to talk about what we do. So I think we had a lot of fun with it, but I do appreciate what they did and what they continue to do. Anyway, well, I think that's our show. Join us next week when we'll have some people here.
We will. We're actually very fortunate that we will have a lovely bard from Calafia, Lady Lettice Blythe, will be joining us next week. And so we're really, really happy to have her with us. And it's always nice to come home to Caid and show off the wonderful bardic performers we have. So that'll be fun.
Right. And for our interview guests, I'm trying to lock someone in that'll be awesome. It just depends on their schedule. If not, we'll have someone that's just as awesome, just not that person. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Bjorn.
Thank you very much, Laertes.
And everyone, thanks for the year. And be sure to join us next week when once again we will be live from Caid. We'll see you then.
Bye, guys.